Hey, we're back at it. Happy Thursday, everybody. 26th day of September 2019. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the North Central, on this TV station. Hi, how are you? Oh my, it's going to be a great day today. I'm pretty excited about it. We got high school football tonight. Right here on the NCW Life channel, the Eisenhower Cadets coming up to take on the Wenatchee Panthers. Leave off the field at the Apple Bowl. So we're a Thursday night high school game. Normally that's not the case, but there is a shortage of football officials, and there's just not enough to go around. So when there's a lot of teams in the North Central Washington area that have home games on Friday nights, they got to make sure they have enough officials. And for this particular Friday night coming up tomorrow, they simply don't have enough. So they moved the Wenatchee Eisenhower game from Friday to Thursday. One way or the other, we'll be there. Looking forward to that. A lot of news to get to, a lot of sports to get to. We got the obscure holiday today in history, birthdays. Everyone is entitled to Mike Minardi's opinion. Kennel cameos, because it's Thursday. Sprinkles the cat needs a home. We'll see if we can make that happen. Our batting average for getting these cats and dogs and our furry friends' homes are pretty good. Kennel Cameos is coming up. And coming up on Sunday at the Snowgrass Winery, about 5.5 miles up the Aniat. It's the Wool Work for Wine. That happens on Sunday. And earlier this week, Megan and I went up to visit with Alan Moen and Susan Kidd at the Snowgrass Winery to talk about that event on Sunday. The big story all through the rest of this day and really into the weekend is the weather forecast. It's going to be a very cold weekend and rainy weekend, and the mountain passes are going to get a little bit of snow. It's going to feel more like mid-November than late September. That all-important forecast is coming up. Couple minutes after the hour, let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, courtesy of Localtel Sky-Fi high-speed wireless setup. A lot more clouds, excuse me, this morning than we had yesterday at this time. We're going to have some clouds this morning. They'll eventually depart the area, and we'll have sunshine this afternoon. But the big story is going to be the powerful cold front. It's going to bring strong winds, very chilly temperatures. We're talking afternoon highs, 20 to 25 degrees below normal on Saturday and Sunday. Right on into Monday, you're going to want to stay close to those forecasts. It's going to be a significant change in the weather coming up this weekend. Camera number 2, where are we off to, Megan? We say good morning to Kashmir, and we'll say good morning to Kashmir. How are you? Are they still working on those stoplights? You know, they've been out there working on all those stoplights that basically go between Monitor out to the Peshastin-Dryden area. I think they're still working on that. They were at least earlier in the week. Hasn't really been too much of a traffic snafu. Good morning, Kashmir. How are you? Thanks for joining us here on the NCW Life channel. Camera 3. It's going to be, that's Stayman Flats, correct, Megan? Stayman Flats. Highway 97A is at the bottom of your screen, or a small portion of it. Of course, this is the area where you have to make up your mind. Are you taking the Navarre Cooley Road to get to Lake Chelan? Are you heading up 97A, going through the Knapsail Tunnel and popping into Chelan that way? The mighty Columbia and Douglas County dominates our view there. The Wenatchee Valley way off in the distance. And finally, camera number 4 is a beautiful view of, I'm going to say, Nanapoc Ridge. Am I correct? Oh, that's Blag. Well, you moved it on me. Okay, well, you're allowed to do that. Blag Mountain, high above Peshastin. Of course, the Autumn Leaf Festival is in Leavenworth this weekend, the 55th Autumn Leaf Festival. The parade starts at 12 noon. We'll have a camera there. We're going to videotape the parade in its entirety and play it back for you later on in the next week or so. So good morning to our friends in Peshastin and Leavenworth and the northern part of the valley on this Thursday morning. It's 54 degrees. We do have cloudy skies. As I mentioned before, the clouds will be departing. We'll have sunshine this afternoon, but it's going to be windy as well. Let's take a look at that forecast and buckle your seatbelt. Get a little bit of everything. Once again, for today, clouds in the morning, and then gradually the sun will come out. We'll have quite a bit of sunshine this afternoon. We'll top off at 73. We hit 73 yesterday. Our normal high is 73 degrees, so that's we had an absolutely normal and very beautiful Wednesday. Look at the high temperature on Saturday. We got a couple of slides to show you, or at least one anyway. And look at this, rain and snow Friday night into Saturday. Now, the snow level in the mountains on Friday night is going to dip down to right around 4,000 feet. In the Wenatchee Valley, we're not going to get any snow. Let me make that perfectly clear. We'll have some rain over the weekend, but no snow. But you get to about the 4,000 foot mark, And they're expecting, at least on Stevens Pass, they could get 1 to 3 inches of snow. This is on Friday night. But if you're going to be out and about in the upper elevations in eastern Washington, you can't expect some snow. It's going to be very cold. We very rarely talk about wind chills in September, but if you're going to be outside Saturday night or Sunday morning, coats, gloves, hats, long underwear, wind chill values will be dipping down into the 30s and even in the 20s when you factor in the cold temperatures, the snow, and the blowing wind, because we're going to have windy conditions as well. It's a whole bunch of everything. So no real problems today. Clouds in the morning, sunshine in the afternoon. It's going to be breezy at times today. Not real windy, but breezy. Going to be breezy tonight. If you're going to the football game, bundle up. Mostly clear, 49 for the overnight low. Again, a little breezy at times. Friday, increasing clouds. Most of the day tomorrow is going to be the prelude to the big cold front, that powerful cold front, which is going to bring us all those strong winds and cool temperatures and snow in the mountains. That's going to be Friday night. We're going to have some rain. Look at the overnight low Friday night, 41. Look at the overnight low Saturday, 36 degrees. You factor in the wind chills, it will feel like below freezing on Saturday night. Are you kidding me? Yeah. It really starts coming in on Friday. Look at that. So we're going to go for, it wasn't that long ago, we had highs in the 80s. So we're going to see a high of only 60 on Friday, 51 if we're lucky on Saturday, with lots of clouds, rain in many locations, about a 70% chance of rain, and wind on top of all of that. And some snow in the upper elevations, as I mentioned before, Friday night into early Saturday. No real let up on Saturday night. Rain likely, 36 for the overnight low. Are you kidding me? Sunday, we'll be lucky to get to 46. So Sunday's high, 46 degrees. That's about 25 degrees below normal. We could see some record temperatures certainly on Saturday and Sunday. And even though this cold front, the active part of the cold front, is going to be leaving Sunday night into Monday, the cold air isn't going anywhere. Look at our highs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, we'll have sunshine, lots of clear skies, but we'll be lucky to get to the mid-50s on Monday, a little bit warmer on Tuesday. So the cold air is going to be coming in over the weekend, Friday night into Saturday. It's going to be stormy on Saturday and Sunday, very chilly temperatures. And even though we'll have no precipitation in the forecast Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, it's certainly that cold air is going to be hanging around for quite some time. A friendly reminder, we are now fully into autumn. One last thing to touch on before we take a break. Sunrise this morning was at 6:53. Sunset tonight, 6:51. Yep, we're on the other side of that coin. 11 hours and 58 minutes of daylight today, and it's going to keep going that direction until we get to the winter solstice come late December. It's 8 minutes after the hour, 54 degrees. Going to take a break. When we come back, your Thursday morning news. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley, live this morning from Studio 5 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
My first experience with CVCH, I had to come in with my daughter by myself with a cut in my hand that required stitches. And the care and compassion at CVCH was really significant, that they took the care and compassion and made me feel more as a human instead of just a patient there. The care they have for their community all around, inside and outside the clinic, is what I feel like is different. And that's what makes me want to come back to CVCH and recommend them to my friends and family.
Boating in the Wenatchee Valley starts at Bob File Boats and Motors. One look at the new Z series of Supreme boats and you'll know you're looking at a high-performance wake surfing boat. These boats are known as the Zeus boats because riding one is like surfing a lightning bolt, embodying the mythical trinity of surf, strength, and spirit. See the Supreme boat line at Bob File Boats and Motors on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee or online at bobfile.com.
Bob File Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bob File's gonna make you smile.
Just about 10 minutes after the hour, we have overcast conditions and 52 degrees. We'll have sunshine by the time we get to this afternoon. We'll be warming up into the lower 70s with some wind. It'll be windy tonight. The real change begins on Friday into Friday night, and then a very raw, cold, rainy, windy weekend heading our way on Saturday and Sunday. Here's what's making headlines on this Thursday morning. An East Wenatchee woman charged with opioid possession after police allegedly found large supplies of illegal drugs and prescription pills in her purse. 34-year-old Rebecca Grundy, wanted on a domestic violence warrant. That's when police arrested her. This happened early Monday near an East Wenatchee convenience store. She was allegedly carrying morphine, hydrocodone, a syringe of heroin, and other drugs. Douglas County prosecutors have charged her with 9 drug offenses, including intent to distribute. Well, all Eastmont schools will be holding rapid evacuation drills. It's going to happen today and tomorrow. That will include using the district's emergency texting system to let parents know what's going on. Schools will not be told when they'll be given the notice to evacuate, but it will be between 9 a.m. and 2:30 today and between 8 a.m. and 11:30 tomorrow morning. Now, as part of the drills, which would be implemented in the event of an active shooter or a natural disaster, some students will be loaded onto buses to be taken to nearby churches that would serve as emergency shelters. Again, that happens today and tomorrow in the Eastmont School District. 8th District Congresswoman Kim Schreier is asking her constituents to share their thoughts on the House of Representatives beginning impeachment proceedings against President Trump. The Democratic lawmaker says her offices have been getting a lot of calls on the issue since House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced on Tuesday the plan to go ahead with an impeachment inquiry. The inquiry is based on a whistleblower complaint allegedly wrongdoing by the president in a phone call to the president of Ukraine. Schreier invites constituents to participate in an online survey that asks, given this new information about the president in Ukraine, do you think Congress should begin impeachment proceedings? The Congresswoman in August went on the record as supporting the impeachment inquiry based on Democrats lingering issues with the Mueller-Russian collusion report. Well, the Greater Wenatchee Area Technology Alliance hosted their 19th annual Innovator of the Year Awards luncheon. It happened yesterday at the Wenatchee Convention Center. The award luncheon recognizes companies, individuals, students, teachers, and organizations for their accomplishments in science, technology, engineering, and math. The award winners, and there were a lot of them, they included the Innovator of the Year. That's Jeff Soharen and Blue Spills Distilling. Focus Edgeo won for innovative use of technology in business. The STEM champion winners, Debbie Gallagher and Bob Bauer of the Chelan PUD's Rocky Reach Discovery Center. The STEM College Student Innovator Honor went to Amanda Jeffries of Wenatchee Valley College, and the Future Technology Leader Award went to Galactic Farmers from Elmira Cooley Heartline Middle School. Well, speaking of schools, people interested in learning more about Pinnacles Prep, that's the Wenatchee's proposed charter school. Well, they're going to have a chance to talk with state and local charter school officials tonight at a community gathering. The meeting from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Wenatchee Community Center at 504 South Chelan is being called Charter Schools 101. Pinnacles Prep is a free public school open to all, and they hope to open in the fall of 2021 after getting state approval. The school is envisioned as eventually serving grades 6 through 12, though it plans to start with grades 6 and 7. The Pinnacles Prep Board has already announced that Jill Finnis, a former Wenatchee School District Science Coordinator, will serve as principal of the new school. And finally, Chelan County Commissioners, they want to hear your opinions concerning plans to reintroduce grizzly bears into the North Cascades. Our very own senior news correspondent Steve Hare has been following this story and has more.
The commissioners are hosting 2 public comment sessions, starting with an event this evening at the Chelan Senior Center. The National Park Service and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service have completed a draft environmental impact statement in connection with the North Cascades Ecosystem Grizzly Bear Restoration Plan. Now, the plan is now in the public review process. Commissioners are already on the record in opposition to the Fed's proposal. Doug England shared his objections to the plans in a 2018 interview on NCW Life.
The park artificially wants to reintroduce or introduce the grizzly bear to the Stehekin and to the Okanagan, which would essentially create a very major hazard to both the cattle and to the tourist industry in that area. Grizzly bears are a magnificent animal, and it's not fair to them to force them into an area where not only aren't they welcome, but they aren't well suited. And they talk about a landscape that's very pristine. It got to be pristine without a grizzly bear there. And to introduce an apex predator makes no sense. When Chelan County referred to a great place to live and work and play, that will very severely restrict that ability.
Supporters of the plan, such as Conservation Northwest, have dismissed commissioners' concerns as baseless. Tonight's meeting starts at 6 p.m., and it'll be followed on October 1st with a second public comment session in Wenatchee. That one's scheduled at the Confluence Technology Center. The deadline for submitting written comments is October 24th. Steve Hare, NCW Life News.
Thank you for that report, Steve. We appreciate it. Whatever made news or will make news on this Thursday, you can check it out tonight with the evening news. Grant Olson and Eric Granston, boy, they're going to be busy because they got the news to do. And then they'll be packing up and helping us do football tonight with Eric and Grant calling the action as the Panthers take on the Eisenhower Cadets. So the news with Grant and Eric in the sports chair at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. And don't forget at 6:45 at the pregame show, 7 o'clock kickoff for Wenatchee Panther football right here on the NCW Life channel. We'll be doing Eastmont football tomorrow at Wildcat Stadium. So check out the news at 5, 6, and 10. You can also watch it on demand by going to our website at ncwlife.com. And if you want to drop us a note, you have a news tip, or you just want to say hi, you can send us an email, news at ncwlife.com. You can also go to our Facebook page and drop us a line via Facebook Messenger, or you can go to our website and contact us that way if you so desire. 16 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a break. When we come back, sports, the obscure holiday today, and history, birthdays, kennel cameos. Everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. And my conversation with Alan Moen and Susan Kidd from Snowgrass Winery up in Antioch. They got a party going on Sunday, and everyone's invited. Busy Thursday. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live from Studio 6 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
Only one dealership in Wenatchee has Motor Trend's SUV of the Year and Truck of the Year. That's right, Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram has the all-new Jeep Wrangler and the all-new Ram 1500 pickup. Or get the best of both worlds in the new Jeep Gladiator. Visit Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram today for more information on these award winners and see why there's no reason to leave town to buy your next vehicle.
If you want to work in IT, here's a tip. Employers value IT certifications. 91% say they play a key role in hiring. 72% require them for certain job openings. Improve your odds of getting the job. Enroll in the Computer Networking Systems program at Charter College. In 14 months, you could earn an associate degree and 6 IT certifications. Get started at chartercollege.edu/IT, where we work to get you to work.
We're back 18 minutes after the hour of the ever-widening world of sports. Zach Greinke nearly no-hit the Mariners last night. Houston 3-0 in the final over Seattle at T-Mobile Park. The 35-year-old right-hander carried a no-hitter into the 9th inning, and Austin Nola broke it up with a one-out base hit to left center field. It was Greinke's 18th win of the season. It helped Houston to a club record for wins. They won 104 now this year. It also marked the 13th win in a row by the Astros over the Mariners this season. In fact, the Mariners and Astros played 19 games this season. Seattle won just once. Seattle's Yusei Kikuchi tagged with the loss, allowing 2 runs, 6 hits, 6 innings, 4 strikeouts. Kikuchi's record fell to 6-11 on the year with the loss. The Mariners welcome Oakland to town tonight for the first of a 4-game series that wraps up the year for the Mariners. Felix Hernandez making what is expected to be his last start in his Mariner career against the Athletics' Sean Banana. First pitch is at 7:10. So the A's come in after knocking out the Angels last night in Anaheim. The final was 3-2. Matt Chapman's 2-run home run in the top of the 9th was the difference for Oakland. So the A's lead in the American League wild card race is still a half a game over Tampa Bay for spot number 1. The Rays' Charlie Morton and 3 relievers combined in a one-hit shutout of the Yankees last night. They won 4-0. Joey Wendell and Alvasail Garcia went deep for Tampa Bay. The Rays lead over Cleveland for the final wild card spot grew to a game and a half. The Indians lost to the White Sox 8-3. The Wenatchee Panthers hosting the Eisenhower Cadets. It's a rare Thursday night game tonight right here on the NCW Life channel. For Panther coach Scott Devereaux, he expects the Cadets to constantly pressure on defense with the blitz and for their quarterback to move all over the place on offense.
You know, he's a good little athlete. He reminds me of Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
He's 5'6" and 160 pounds maybe, but he runs really well. He's got a great receiver he throws to. He's leading the league in catches and touchdowns. I think he has 8 of the team's 10 touchdowns. They have a big running back who runs hard between the tackles. They changed their defense up from last year. I think they're playing more aggressive on defense. So they're a much improved team. They got a couple losses where they turned the ball over quite a bit. We hope that continues. But I think, if we take care of business, this is a game that we should win.
Andy Jimenez starts on both the offensive line and the defensive line. The 5'9", 235-pound senior says he worked really hard in the offseason to overcome the injuries that he suffered last year.
I came back from 2 surgeries, so I was just kind of in like rehab and stuff like that. But as a team, I think we definitely stepped it up, and we all hit the weight room, and we all contributed and put in hard work.
So what were your surgeries?
I actually had 2 surgeries on my wrist. I tore most of my ligaments in there, and I broke my radial.
How'd you do that?
Wrestling.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So you guys, last week, I mean, how do you describe last week? That was kind of unfair, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was mostly a mental game for us. We were coming into that game trying to be as focused as we can be and try to limit all the mistakes. Yeah.
Talk about your approach defensively and what you guys want to accomplish each week.
We just want to play fast and beat teams with our strength and speed, and I think that's just how we're gonna. That's how we shut out a few teams. So, yeah.
Talk about Eisenhower and what you're expecting. They got pretty good big guys up front. They like to run the ball. They got a different guy playing at quarterback this year. What do you expect?
I think they're going to play hard, and I think it's going to be a good battle. But at the end of the day, I think we're a lot faster and a lot stronger. I think we're gonna pull it out.
The Panthers and the Cadets, 6:45 pregame right here on the NCAA Live Channel, 7 o'clock kickoff. Grant Olson and Eric Granstrom with the call from Lee Bofto Field at the Apple Bowl. Also on the prep schedule for today, there's a lot going on. We'll start with soccer, the schedule there. Jackrabbits from Quincy. They're on the road at Prosser tonight at 6 o'clock. Silo will host Ephrata. Cashmere opens up Caribou Trail League play at home against Chelan at 6:30, and they'll kick off in Manson at 6:30 with the Trojans hosting Pateras. That's soccer. To volleyball we go. Busy schedule. Starts at 5:30. Antioch plays at Pateras. Waterville Mansfield will host Manson at 6:30. That's also the start time in Cashmere. The Bulldogs entertaining Chelan. In the CWAC tonight, Prosser is at Ephrata. Quincy hosts Grandview. That's at 7. And in the Columbia Basin, Big 9. Eastmont will host Sunnyside, and Wenatchee's at Moses Lake. Both of those matches start at 7. Can't forget about cross country. Today at 5, Quincy will host East Valley of Yakima, Grandview, and Toppenish. Hey, an old friend is back in the Seahawk fold. The Seahawks brought former tight end Luke Wilson back to the team yesterday. They signed Wilson on Wednesday. That brings back the popular tight end who spent the first 5 years, of course, his career with the Seahawks. Then he went to Detroit. Then he went to Oakland. And Wilson says he's happy to be back.
Pretty exciting, just being in this building. Bit surreal still. It kind of happened pretty quick. And being here, seeing everybody, a lot of new faces player-wise, but, seeing all the coaches and a lot of people here, not just the coaches, but, in the training room, the equipment room, guys that I've had relationships with for a long time. It's been pretty special 24 hours.
What were the last 3 or 4 weeks like for you?
A bit strange, kind of first time being on the other side. It was one of those things where I was kind of flying in and out to different places for a bit. And it's weird when, things become a numbers game and then you don't really know who to believe. Is it really a numbers game or is that just what everybody says? So it was a bit strange. Got hit with a couple pump fakes, which were a little hard to handle, but I'm here now, it kind of all worked out, and I'm very excited.
When did you first get word from the Seahawks they were interested?
I was on my way to the airport to go work out for another team on an Uber, and my agent called and said that this might go down. So I was just quick pivot right there.
Did you tell the Uber driver to pull over?
No, because he was like, you still got to go to the airport. We don't really know much. I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm like, all right, I'll board the plane last then. So.
And when did you?
We were boarding, and I got the call from my agent and told me to. So I walked over 2 terminals and flew to Seattle instead.
The move to get Wilson happened after Seattle traded tight end Nick Vanette to Pittsburgh earlier in the week. Of course, the Seahawks getting ready to take on the Arizona Cardinals down in the desert Sunday at 1:05. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Thursday at 25 minutes after the hour, the obscure holiday of the day today. Today is National Situational Awareness Day. Pay attention. It's not just about personal safety. It is significantly about personal safety, but it's not all about personal safety. Just pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on around you. This all goes all the way back to World War I. That's when the concept of situational awareness really began. The idea of gaining an awareness in advance of where your enemy is before your enemy knows where you are makes perfect sense. A lot of people in modern society lack the basic skill of knowing what's going on around you, and a lot of it has to do with technology. You see it all the time. They're funny little videos that pop up on Facebook or on YouTube of people on their phones and they walk right into poles or whatever it is. I see it all the time in my everyday life, people having a nice conversation in the aisle of a grocery store, and you're trying to get your cart down the aisle to pick up your pickles or whatever, and they're standing in the middle of your aisle and you can't get the cart through, and they go, "Oh, we're sorry," and then they move out of the way and the cart goes through and then they go right back where they were again. It's like, pay attention. It's not that hard. Situational awareness day. Keep yourself out of harm's way by paying attention to what's going on around. It really isn't that hard. Let's do Today in History. 114 years ago, on this date in 1905, September 26, 1905, Albert Einstein publishes his first paper on the special theory of relativity. There it is. Very simple to understand. Einstein's theory of relativity. Was he wrong? I'm not smart enough to say one way or the other, but it changed a lot of people's thought processes. Albert Einstein, a man much smarter than I was, introduced the theory of relativity in a paper that he wrote and was published on September 26, 1905. Today is the 50th anniversary of the release of the last album the Beatles ever recorded, Abbey Road. Hit record stores. Of course, it was the final studio recording of the group. It wasn't the final album of original material that the group released. That was Let It Be, which would come out in April of 1970. But of course, the album Let It Be was recorded before Abbey Road. The Let It Be sessions were just awful. The band was sniping and snipping at each other. They recorded hundreds and hundreds of songs. It was all caught on film. By the time that it was all done with the Let It Be sessions, nobody wanted to wade through all that hours of tape and put together a releasable product, so they just stuck everything on the shelf. And they said, if this is the end of the Beatles, let's go out on a high note. Let's not go out with what we just did. Let's kind of bear down, and the four of us, and let's see if we can put together a decent product. And they did. Abbey Road remains the Beatles' biggest selling single album, and it hit record stores on this date 50 years ago today. I'm trying to think. I have 4 copies on vinyl and 3 CD copies of Abbey Road. So I have 7 copies of the album. That way, if I lose one, I still have 6. Came out 50 years ago today. And September 26, 1983, the longest winning streak in the history of sports came to an end. Australia 2 wins the America's Cup. The New York Yacht Club had won the race for 132 years until Australia finally won it and snapped the winning streak from ABC News.
Australia 2 picked up an amazing 1 minute and 18 seconds, and with that slid into the lead to be ahead by a slender 21 seconds with one leg to sail. Connor battled back but could not get close. The America's Cup was Australia 2's. The Australian syndicate boss, Mr. Alan Bond, said the trophy would remain the America's Cup and the first Royal Perth Yacht Club defence would be in 1987 or 88.
Quite seriously, John Bertram and his crew have done a fine job today, as you all saw. And I'm so pleased that we can say not goodbye to Newport and their many friends here, but an open invitation to the people of Newport and the people of America to come to Perth in Western Australia and try and win it back. We'll welcome you.
After 132 years in the United States, after the longest winning streak in sporting history, the America's Cup is off to Perth.
That was really big news back in 1983, and of course they did hold the America's Cup again 4 years later, this time in Australia. And I remember, because of the time difference, we would, get up at 3 in the morning and drink Foster's Lagers and watch the America's Cup on TV. Now the America's Cup is a sporting event that most people have simply forgotten about, or it's completely fallen off the table. It wasn't the case back in 1983. And it's the bottom of the hour. Let's do some birthdays for you. The man known primarily for his work in classical conditioning. We all know the euphemism or the metaphor of Pavlov's dog. Ivan Pavlov, the psychologist and physician. He won a Nobel Prize for his work, was born in the state in 1849, lived a long time, lived to the age of 86. Read up on Ivan Pavlov. He's a fascinating guy. Classical conditioning, it's a real deal. Let's see, Pope Paul VI was born in this state in 1897, died in 1978 at the age of 80. He's now a saint. He achieved sainthood a number of years ago by Pope Francis. His claim to fame for a lot of people, he was the very first pope ever to travel to the United States. He did that in 1965. Pope Paul VI was born in the state in 1897. George Gershwin, one of America's greatest composers, also played a pretty mean piano. Best known for Rhapsody in Blue, Porgy and Bess, I Got Rhythm, and many, many others. The legendary George Gershwin, born in the state in 1898, died of a brain tumor at the age of 38 in 1937, but the music lives on. And finally, Serena Williams is 38 years old today. A lot of commentators, a lot of sports writers, a lot of experts, and a lot of tennis players consider her the greatest female tennis player of all time. I think she is, without question, the greatest female tennis player of all time. She has won 23 major singles titles. That's most of anybody, man or woman, in the Open era. Serena Williams is 38 years old today. We got Everyone is Entitled to Mike McKnight's Opinion coming up, plus my conversation with my good friends Alan Moen and Susan Kidd. We went up to the Snowgrass Winery, about 5.5 miles up Antioch River Road, to talk to Alan and Susan about the We'll Work for Wine event on Sunday. Both of those are coming up. But first things first, Sprinkles the Cat Needs a Home. It's Kennel Cameos with Megan McPherson.
Hey guys, Megan here with the NCW Life Channel. We're here with Renee Parkins, the Development Officer of the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and joining us this week is Sprinkles. Can you tell us about Sprinkles?
I can. Or Sprinkles might want to tell you about Sprinkles. She is a sweet girl. She is about 12. She was brought to the shelter because she wasn't getting along with the other cats in her house. So as you can tell, she's a little bit of a princess on her tuffet here. Yeah. And she does want to be an only cat, but she's very sweet. She's a lap cat. She loves to be petted. She's very playful. Even at the age of 12, she's still very young at heart, and she's so soft.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I could sit and pet her all day.
And do you know how she is with kids and dogs?
She's not great she just needs to be with adults and in her own house.
Only child?
Yeah. She also did have a bladder stone removed, so she is on a special diet, but it's relatively inexpensive, and vets can talk to a potential owner about that. But as long as she's getting her food that she needs and lots of water, she should live a long, healthy life.
And if someone wants to adopt her, what should they do?
They just need to come down to the shelter, meet her, which they will instantly fall in love with her, I think. And she's ready to go home today. So hopefully somebody is looking for a really sweet lap cat that loves to play.
The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is located at 1474 South Wenatchee Avenue and is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org. This has been Kennel Cameos at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society.
Let Fitterers Furniture help you turn your dreams into reality with their exciting selection of quality furnishing and accessories. Whatever style you are looking for, you will find beautifully crafted furniture of exceptional value and the unmatched Fitterers customer service to make this shopping experience one you will keep coming back to. Make a point of visiting Fitterers Furniture in downtown Ellensburg.
Quality, selection, and service since 1896.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine-in style at Highlander Bar and Grill in East Wenatchee. Open 7 days a week, Highlander Grill offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in or take it to go, our friendly staff is here to serve you. Reservations recommended for Friday night's prime rib dinner. Call for live music dates. Hi, I'm Shalane, site coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
It's Manson Hydrofest on Lake Chelan, September 28th and 29th. American Powerboat Association racing teams will be competing for the 2019 Inboard Western Divisional Championships. 14 classes of inboard hydroplanes, flat bottoms, vintage hydroplanes, tunnel boats, and junior outboard hydroplanes will tear up the waters of Lake Chelan. Admission is free. Brought to you by Seattle Inboard Racing Association, Lake Chelan Chamber of Commerce, and presented by the Manson Chamber of Commerce and moreToManson.com.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, has become kind of a fad mental health diagnosis. People claim to have it or believe that experience such as having to go through a metal detector at a school can bring it on. Sorry, but no. The criteria for PTSD diagnosis, and I quote from the DSM-5, is exposure to actual threatened death, serious injury, or sexual violence. Believe me, folks, PTSD is a serious diagnosis, and the symptoms are miserable. No one who understands the terrible significance of having PTSD would ever claim to have it if, in fact, they didn't. This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and that's my opinion.
As the leaves change their colors, Leavenworth prepares for their fall celebration, the Autumn Leaf Festival. All weekend, your family can enjoy many activities, including dancing, live music, inflatables, and the Grand Parade Saturday at noon. Please thank our sponsors who supported this message.
A Book for All Seasons has moved to a new home on Front Street. Look for them by Woody Goomsbaugh next to the park.
Mike West Realty, the folks you trust enough to refer your friends and family to, helping happy customers buy and sell homes in the Valley for over 35 years. Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. We are on location, as we are apt to be. Alan Moen reached out to me because every year he puts together a little, it's a party, I guess is the best way to put it, Alan.
It's a celebration, really.
It really is. We're at Alan's fine place, the Snowgrass Winery, hard on the banks of the Antioch River. And this Sunday, if you're into wine, crafts, cool people, this is the place to be, Alan, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we won't pull the wool over your eyes.
Oh,
we'll have a lot of wool here.
You were working on that all the way.
Yeah, I know. I've been saving that one up.
Alan, this is not the first time Alan, of course, has been on this show. We've talked about all kinds of different things, most of it Antioch related. This is a beautiful facility. You've had it for about, 20 years now, right?
We've been here for 20 years, yeah.
20 years. How soon after you bought this property did you decide to turn it into a winery? Because you can't make a winery overnight.
No. Well, I bought this property with the winery in mind, but we had to try to see what would grow here, because the climate's a little cooler, in the Antioch Valley than most of the wine growing areas, and so I had to kind of experiment with some grapes to begin with. But the winery's 10 years old now. We've been an official winery for 10 years.
Because it takes a little while for the grapes to mature, to have the vineyards old enough to actually create a good bottle of wine.
That's right. It's usually 3 years before you get a crop, and the fourth year is really a much better, but it's 3 years before the vines really produce.
So it's a cooler climb, as you can tell. I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but Alan's a manly man. He's in a t-shirt. Also, you don't get quite a much sun here.
Well, we get more than you'd think, because one of the reasons we bought this property is the vineyard out there faces south, so we get maximum sun, even though we're down in the valley bottom. And that has really helped grapes ripen. But it's true that for a wine growing area, this doesn't get the heat units that a lot of areas do.
So was this love at first sight 20 years ago when you came up and checked out this property and you said, I gotta have this place?
Pretty much. We looked all over for the right spot for us. We wanted to be in the country. We were looking for a place where I could grow grapes. We could set up sort of a small farm, and this turned out to be ideal.
And the genesis for the events that are going on this Sunday at this very winery, the Snowgrass Winery, whose idea was this? Whoever it was, kudos to them.
Thanks. Well, we decided after talking to some of my friends who have wineries in Northern California that we would try using small sheep to mow our vineyard because it's a big job to try to keep the grass and the weeds and stuff down. And I thought, well, if sheep can do it, that's going to save me a lot of work. Well, anyway, we got these sheep, and the ones that we use mostly are what's called baby doll South Down sheep. They're very, very short. They can't really get up the
which
grapes
is important because they'd eat
exactly
the grapes.
They would, yeah. They would eat leaves and grapes if they could, but so they do a pretty good job of mowing. And once we had the sheep, well, of course, we had to have them sheared. We had to get the wool, and my wife got very interested in knitting and became a really good knitter and met a lot of people who were doing that, who were into wool. And so we decided that we would have an event that kind of brought those people together here at the winery to celebrate, wool work for wine and have a wine tasting at the same time. And people could bring their families and meet, our animals and things like that. So it's worked out pretty well.
Why this time of the year, Alan? Is it specific to late September because...
Yeah, well, not really.
You can do it anytime, but you...
Not anytime. We like to do it late fall because the sheep have already been sheared and things start to calm down. And it's actually before we harvest our grapes. Because this is a cooler area, we're picking later. We're picking, into October mostly. And so... we wanted to do it at a time when we weren't really busy at the winery, when we could still have people come here and wouldn't interfere with what we were doing.
You have 4 of your vintages out here on display. Alan, walk me through. What do we have here?
Well, we have actually a wine that I named for our sheep. It's called Menagerie Merlot. I can't grow Merlot here. It's a grape that I tried to grow, and it's too cold in the winter. It's a very cold-sensitive grape, and so I get those grapes from Red Mountain in the eastern end of the Yakima Valley. It's a fabulous place to grow grapes, and I've been buying grapes from there for over 20 years. So anyway, so I decided to name it Menagerie Merlot and put the sheep on the label.
Are you paying the sheep any
well,
royalties on this?
They earn their keep, but we pay them a lot in terms of food. So
yeah, that's one of the the sheep come with all kinds of byproducts. For one, you get to make wool, and you get to make things out of the wool, but other byproducts are other byproducts.
Right.
Of
Yeah.
the sheep.
Actually, sheep are amazing, and they're very versatile animals. And of course, sheep are also slaughtered for meat. We don't do that with our sheep, and they also make cheese from the milk of sheep. And sheep milk cheese is pretty amazing because it's got more butter fat than any other ruminant, than cows or goats, and so it's very rich cheese. So it's an incredibly versatile animal.
We have a Aniat River Rosé.
Right. Now that wine is made solely from our vineyard out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got 4 different grapes, 4 different varieties that I found I could grow here. Cabernet Franc is the major variety, and that is, again, a late ripening grape. And also there's some Syrah in it, some Sangiovese, and some Limburger, which is a German grape that grows well in eastern Washington. So,
next up, we have the... you're going to have to help me out with that one.
It's pronounced Mourvedre, or Mourvedre, actually, in French. And it is a fabulous grape. We put our goat on the label, one of our goats on the label, whose name is Loki, and appropriately named because he's such a rascal.
He's actually eating grapes.
That's kind of a photo op shot. I never let him in the vineyard. He's he's death on grapes, death on grapevines too, because goats will climb up on the grapevines, and they've climbed the trees around here sometimes. So anyway, but we named it for him because it's a really different wine, and it has a fabulous fruit aroma like no other red wine I've ever made. And it comes from the Rhone Valley in France, just like Syrah. It's usually used as a blending grape there, but by itself, it's really an interesting wine. And
the one next to you there, Alan.
And this one is Sangiovese, which is also obviously an Italian grape, but really a nice, rich, spicy red wine. And I put a couple of our sheep on the label, and it's called Southdown Sangiovese because they're baby doll Southdown, so you can see them doing their job mowing the vineyard.
As any of the sheep actually say the grapes ferment and the sheep eat the grapes, and then you have a bunch of drunk sheep all over the place? Does that
no,
happen?
we don't let the sheep have the wine, but I must say our goats drink wine, and we found out by accident because my wife, we were out drinking wine one day, and one of the pygmy goats we had came up to her and she said, I wonder if he'd be interested. And she gave him some wine, and that was a big mistake because every time he saw us with a glass of wine, he'd come running over and try to take the wine from our hand. So when people come here to taste wine, we make sure that the goats are in their pen and they're far away from the wine
Do the
glasses.
goats and the sheep have to be segregated at all times?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They really don't get along. We tried to see if, we could kind of pasture them together, but that didn't work. Of course, we don't want the goats in the vineyard anyway. But separating the sheep from the goats ever since biblical times is probably the right way to go.
We're going to talk to your significant, and I mean significant better half here in just a couple of minutes. But let's get back to Sunday. Again, we're on site here at Snowgrass Winery up the ante at. What else? I mean, you got the goats and you got the sheep. Are there any livestock that are hanging around that I can't see?
Well, we do have a lot of chickens and ducks as well, and of course several cats who run around here. Hopefully, controlling the birds that also like to descend on our vineyard this time of year. We found out that birds can be very dangerous for wine grape growers, and we've had to take a number of measures to try to keep them from eating our grapes. So.
What's the early word on this year's vintage?
It's looking real good. I think it's we've had a cool month. I'm hoping that it warms up some because they're not quite ripe. But if we have a warmer fall, we get much more of an Indian summer. I think we're going to be just fine.
I love the fact that you can hear the Antioch. The Antioch River is probably maybe 100 yards just beyond us here.
It's actually it's about 100
right there.
140 feet away.
It's a beautiful property. I can understand the attraction of living here. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing, and we actually have another area closer to the river that we've also used for events, and I've got another grape arbor down there as well. So it's been a job to try to, because we did a lot of work on this land to try to make it more sustainable and more environmentally appropriate. But it's been a very rewarding thing.
So the wine is half of it. Yes, there'll be a wine tasting here, as Alan mentioned. But the second half of this is the artisan part of it, the crafts, the wool, all the stuff that these people have put together for you to enjoy and to maybe even purchase.
Exactly.
If you want. And we're going to talk about that with
with my wife Susan.
Yeah, and you've done good, by the way.
She's the one.
Yeah.
She's the one. And I think. Maybe she showed you. She's developed a business of her own in making these stuffed animals. Wool, sheep from sheep. I mean, it's kind of an interesting concept.
You married way up, Alan. Way up.
Above my station, for sure.
More from the Snowgrass Winery out here in Antioch. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
How much are you paying for adult, family, or assisted living? Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living offers one-bedroom apartments for one affordable price. Their rates are all-inclusive. No nickel or diming or sudden increases, just one set price. You or your loved one will receive good food and excellent care in a relaxed, home-like environment. Stop on by for a tour to see if the Epladolin family is the right choice for you.
Family-owned and operated Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living in Cashmere. Affordable care. Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. Alan Moen has removed himself from the premises. Susan Kidd is joining us. And my first question is, I could have just talked with you and dispatched with the Allen interview altogether.
Well, he's the winemaker, so I think that he needs to talk about the wine.
Susan, did you fall into this whole, you happen to have sheep, gee, I think I should do something with the wool, or was it vice versa? How did you get into the idea of we're having sheep make wool, I can do something with the wool?
We got the sheep to work in the vineyard, and I started having more and more fleece piling up.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, got to do something with that. And then I said, oh, I'm going to make sheep from our sheep.
And you did exactly that.
I did that. Now I do woolly mammoths and muskox and rabbits and all kinds of woolly critters.
We're going to talk about that when we're going to go over and take a quick little tour of the table here in just a little bit. The party, the celebration this Sunday. Nobody said, Alan didn't take credit for it. Who gets credit for this great idea to bring these people together?
I'm going to say it's my idea.
Absolutely, Susan.
I said, we've got to have a fiber arts festival.
Uh-huh.
And just a little background, Alan and I were both visual artists and had careers of about 30 years drawing and painting. And when we lived in Kashmir, we had some art shows and brought in artists from around the country to show there. And so moving to a fiber arts festival was a pretty natural for us.
And this is a beautiful area. Just this is probably a place where you can really be inspired to do some pretty interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, and the fiber artists involved, they're all local, both Antioch and Wenatchee, and some of them have their own animals too.
Yeah.
And they do just beautiful work.
How did this network of people who all are interested in the same thing, taking wool from sheep and alpacas and what have you, and turning them into blankets and stuffed animals and things? How did the word get out that this community exists and we're going to have a party?
Well, for me, I didn't know any other fiber artists, and really it all started when I went down to a festival in the Antioch City Park, and there was a woman there carding wool, and I started talking to her, and that's Cheryl Stewart, and she and her daughter and her husband have Riverside Atelier, and they do a lot of fiber arts and spin. She hand spins the wool for me because I don't spin. And started talking to her, and then started meeting other fiber artists.
Does the wool talk to you? You look at a pile and say, I'm going to turn this into an elephant, or...
Yes.
That's how it...
It really does. I start looking at the... And sometimes it's the spun fiber, but frequently it's the raw fleece. And as I said, I have bags of fleece all over the place.
So you're going to be busy all winter long then, is that what I understand?
That's right.
Susan?
I've been
Okay.
washing now because once it gets cold, I can't wash it anymore.
Talk about Sunday. What can people expect? They're going to come up here to the Snowgrass Winery, about 5.5 miles up the Antioch, and they're going to come and they're going to see what exactly?
They are going to see everything that will help them go from wool on the hoof to finished products. There will be people here who are selling roving, which is cleaned and sometimes dyed fiber that you can spin. They'll have hand spindles, beautifully turned wooden spindles, if you want to try your hand at that. There is hand-spun yarn, both from wool and from alpaca. Beautiful hand-knit pieces and hand-loomed rugs and scarves. So it's quite a variety. Whether you are a fiber artist yourself and looking for some really unique supplies, or if you just love fiber arts and want to buy some things. We have a woman who makes beautiful little baby sweaters, and we have hats and gloves. One woman makes knitting bags, so those are fabric bags, but they're to carry your knitting, and they even come with some custom stitch markers.
Oh, wow.
So that's for the knitters.
So if you've never tried your hand on it, but you're kind of interested, you can do you can learn hands-on on how this stuff is created.
Oh, absolutely. People will be spinning. There will be some demonstrations.
Is there going to be entertainment? Please tell me Alan's not singing.
Oh, of course he isn't, playing his banjo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
In that case, I might show up. So
we'll have a group called the Woolly Bully Band.
The Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs ready to sue those guys
That's
for
right.
plagiarism? I'm pretty sure on that. Admission, hours, all that good stuff.
Okay, it goes from noon to 5.
Okay.
Admission is $10, and that includes the wine tasting, and children are free.
Well, that's a good price.
Yeah, and this is really a family-friendly festival. Kids love to meet the animals. A couple of the goats are friendly enough that they can feed the goats out of their hands, and we have ducks swimming on the pond. And
when it comes time to actually shearing the sheep, who does that?
we have a professional shearer do it.
Not a bad idea.
Right now we have a woman from the Olympia area named Mary Claire Geyer. And she's wonderful. She talks to the sheep.
Do you name that? I know the goats have a couple of the goats have names. The sheep don't have names, right?
Absolutely, they have names.
Because I'm told you're not supposed to really name them because then you get attached to them, and then.
Well, I am attached to them.
Okay, well there you go.
They're all pets and brats, and yeah, they have names based upon their breed.
Okay.
So the first two sheep we got were Cheviots, and that's a Scottish breed.
Okay.
And so we named them Robert and the Bruce for Robert the Bruce, the first king of Scotland. And it's gone on from there. We bred our baby doll ewe with an Icelandic ram, and so the Icelandic cross lambs are named, the ewe is Ingveld for Alan's Norwegian cousin, who says, "Oh, I love being the black sheep of the family."
It's the, I'm going to read it, it's the wool work for wine. Yeah, that's a nice play on words, yeah. I might add. Again, it's this Sunday at the Snowgrass Winery right up here up the ante at. Just go to the Snowgrass Winery website. Super easy to find. I just Googled Snowgrass Winery. It popped right up. It's got the directions to get here. Again, it's going to be noon to 5 on Sunday. Admission is just $10. Wine tasting, artisans, hands-on stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I'm so glad that we decided to come up here and
glad
tape
you
this
did
segment.
too.
Yeah. And by the way, you make a damn good cup of coffee, I might add.
Oh, why, thank you.
Very good indeed. So that's about it for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for our. I'm not going to take your wine. I'll take Alan's wine.
I'm sure you'll take a bottle of wine.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
With 15,000 square feet to explore, you'll find something special at the Antique Mall at Cashmere. For the do-it-yourselfers and those with a keen eye for making something old, fresh and new again, the Antique Mall at Cashmere is the place to come find your next project. From the coin enthusiasts to avid collectors, Antique Mall at Cashmere has treasures in every corner. Come find your treasure today. Antique Mall at Cashmere's friendly staff is here to help. Stop on by today.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills in Manson. Remember the good old days? Sunday supper at Grandma's and the best recipes being passed down through generations? Well, come on out to Blueberry Hills and find amazing food with huge portions at family-friendly prices. From Benedict's to burgers to fresh fruit pies, there is something for everyone. Don't miss Blueberry Hills, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. wildaboutberries.com.
Leavenworth Oktoberfest. Fall is in the air and so is the aroma of sizzling bratwurst. It's time once again for the Leavenworth Oktoberfest. Enjoy 3 full weekends of fun for everyone. Your thirst will be satisfied with a variety of authentic German beer, and your hunger will be filled with German brats right off the grill. The sounds of Oompa will be delivered in 4 venues with live non-stop entertainment. For more information or to purchase tickets, go on to LeavenworthOktoberfest.com.
Down to about a minute or so on this edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Let's take one more look at your forecast from the National Weather Service. No big deal today. The clouds will be pardoning. We'll have some sunshine this afternoon, fairly mild, high of 73, a little breezy at times today and tonight. Mostly clear, 49 for the overnight low. Things start changing Friday. Clouds will be thickening up. Wind will be picking up as this powerful cold front begins to work its way into north central Washington. By Friday night, it'll be here, 41 for the overnight low, in addition to some light rain in the overnight hours. It's also going to be windy. Look at Saturday. Rainy, cold, windy, high of only 51 degrees. That's 20 degrees below normal. 36 for the overnight low Saturday night into Sunday. There could be some snow in the mountains. Snow level is going to go down about 4,000 feet, could even be lower than that. Can you believe this? It's going to feel more like November than September. And that cold air is going to be with us all of next week, as you can see. Although the sunshine will be back by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, those temperatures well below normal. We're not going to see 73 again for a long, long time. Provided the show isn't canceled, we'll see you tomorrow. Till then, bye-bye.